And here we go. We're going to jump into this ZVZ between TSL Revival and Millennium's Stephano. Revival going to be spawning as our red Zerg in the top left-hand corner of Xel'Naga Fortress. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent, Millennium Stephano, going to be the pink Zerg. And it is the version with the expiring Xel'Naga Tower.
Yep, so the tower will go away after some time. Pain User, I think on this map, I think we're going to see, I can't call everything out perfectly, especially in ZVZ now. So hectic, but I think we're going to see Ling Bling again, because if you hatch first on this map, it's pretty risky given that the run distance is pretty short. Yes,
there's not really a tight choke.
There is a choke, but it's not super tight either, like you said. So I think we're going to see Ling Bling again, but you just never know, man. You never know. Life is like a box of chocolates. ZVZ is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Sometimes people play defensive, a lot of aggression. It's pretty intense, man. A lot of it comes down to micro, I feel like.
Yeah, it is.
And also, your tech switches, they have to be really well timed.
I almost miss the Ling Muta that we used to see in Brood War, because that was like a staple. You knew what you were going to see in ZVZ, so you could prepare yourself.
I hated it. That was the same thing every single game. There was no real...
It's kind of like how PvP is right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess...
Except in ZVZ and Brood War, you could actually expand. In PvP, you can't.
No.
So actually, it's worse.
We see people expand sometimes, but they almost always end up losing. I've seen it work a few times.
Yeah.
But it's usually when people sneak it.
So risky, man.
It's usually when people sneak it and their opponent goes for a robo and gets an observer and then scouts the expansion with the observer, and then they're just oh. They have 3-gate robo and the other guy 1-gate feed into 4-gate, and he's massing up, blink stalkers off 4-gate.
Well, we do have...
And they can hold it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, in the ZVZ, we do have some fast expanding coming out here for TSL's Revival. He went for 15 hatch into gas and pool, so he is going to have a lot more economy, but immediately Stephano seeing that, I'm sure he's going to go for Ling Bling, and he's going to try to bust that down.
Yeah. And he's going to have a good opportunity to do so here. He hasn't stopped mining gas at all. He's going to get a really quick Baneling Nest here, and he's going to be able to apply a lot of pressure. Now,
where's the Baneling Nest?
There it goes.
Okay, so you're right. We're going to see Stephano go for Ling Bling aggression against the 15 hatch of TSL's Revival, and Revival needs to get a Roach Horn immediately.
There it is.
There's Roach Horn. So this is what I thought Jelizerg was going to do on Shakuris, but he didn't. But Revival is, so I'm glad I'm 50% right today.
I wonder if Jelizerg didn't do it because the ramp on Shakuris is extra wide, so you need way more roaches to block the ramp. How many do you need on this map? 3, 4?
You need even more to block the natural?
No. The main ramp.
Oh yeah. Well, what you can do is you can build Evo chambers here and then Roach over here or Roach back here. So that's actually pretty protective of the natural.
I think it's way harder on Shakuris to hold your natural with roaches.
That's debatable, I guess.
Well, the ramp is it's an extended ramp on Shakuris, and as long as you hold your main in ZVZ, you can let him pick away at your hatchery at your natural, but you can kind of use roaches to kite back and forth as long as you have that ramp block. I feel like you're in a good situation, and
we'll
do have some roaches coming out here.
Well, here comes the Lings for Stephano. Stephano trying to
solid
bust on
block.
through. Yeah, solid block by Revival, and Revival's gonna have the roaches. He needs to block with the roaches right now before the Lings go down, and he realizes that, gonna get the roaches up in there. Baneling is also coming in as well, but I think that Revival is gonna hold the 15 hatch. Beautiful play by Revival, and Stephano is gonna have some catching up to do unless he just wants to keep being aggressive. This is gonna be a high-octane game once again, and all the blood gonna be shed over Revival's natural.
Yep. Revival's natural creep will be getting all the nutrients from the opposing
Today
Zerg
they'll be
force.
getting lots of nutrition.
He's trying to sneak in here with the Lings. He does get them on top of the roaches, but I think there's just too many roaches right now for Stephano to deal with. He's going to back on out of there and probably expand behind this. And I feel like Revival is in a really, really good situation coming out of this. He's going to be able to macro behind this. He can drone up for a little bit. And he can hit a timing window. He's already ahead 42 to 31 on supply.
Yep.
Just a great opener so far from Revival. Good hold, 0 damage done.
Yeah. And the only thing that Revival needs to be careful about is playing too defensively at this spot because, of course, map control right now belongs to the player who has the lings out and the speed lings out on the map. So he wants to be careful not to play too defensively. He needs to realize that there is a timing window for him to push out and do some damage. And, of course, during this entire time, I would expect Stephano to be just droning up hard to try to catch up.
Yep. And that's exactly what we see him doing. He's using his lings for map control and just droning up super hard. He's keeping the pressure on Revival a little bit, but I don't think Revival's scared.
Yeah.
Revival going to transition into a Baneling nest here, and he could hit a timing with Roaches and Banelings, much like we saw Jelizerg do in the last set.
Not only that, Bo, it's also really smart to get the Baneling nest right now because you don't know if Stephano is just mass-producing lings and hiding them in the corner. And if that's the case and he tries to run in with like 50-plus lings, you're going to need Banelings.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Have a few Baneling bombs just ready and waiting. We see 4 on the way right now for Revival. And yeah, in the event that Stephano went for some kind of a ling bling all in, those 4 Banelings would come in quite handy.
It happens too a lot, man. If the initial ling bling pressure doesn't work against Roach hatchery, then a lot of times the Zergs will just follow it up with like all out lings. But yeah, and we'll see if Stephano does just that. I don't think he is. He's actually going to transition to Roaches as well. And I love the scout by Revival. That is huge. He scouts in there and he checks for additional lings, doesn't see much, and he sees a Roach Warren as well. So now he knows that he's not in danger from any kind of a massive run by. And he should be pretty comfortable with that knowledge in hand.
And we have +1 attack on the way for Revival. A lot of Roaches on the way as well, and a lot of Overlords. He's actually built a ton of Overlords. He's at 70 out of 100 supply right now, so I think he's going to be massing up for quite a bit here. Just getting the Overlords out of the way early on, and now he's mass-producing Roaches. And we could see him hit some sort of a timing window here.
Yeah, quite possibly. He could definitely move out, and the nice thing is he can leave the blings on the ramp for defensive purposes and just move out purely with Roaches, so he doesn't have to worry about a run-by. He is moving out across the map with a couple of lings, trying to get some more scouting information in. Good job by Stephano denying that. Stephano also hopping over to his third, utilizing map control to his fullest, realizing that, hey, if I got map control, I can grab as many expansions as I want, really. And now it's just starting to spread that creep out a little bit. I think one thing that both players aren't really doing that well is spreading creep. But the thing in ZVZ is sometimes spreading creep, I mean, it is helpful in the beginning, but it can actually help your opponent as well.
Yeah. Depending on the situation, who's on offense, who's on defense, where you're moving on the map, it can definitely benefit one player or the other.
It's not quite as important in ZVZ to spread creep as it is in, say, ZVP or ZVT.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because it benefits
your opponent
as well.
Yep. Still good to do, though, because it gives you more sight. So.
Could Revival try and hit a speed +1 timing push here? Both players going to finish their layers at about the same time. Second Evo Chamber coming up for Revival. Revival is going to get speed and burrow.
That's huge.
Earlier.
Yeah, if Stephano doesn't have an Overseer, then and there's no Spore Crawler at the front, then the Roaches could theoretically burrow their way in and harass the main or the natural, or just pop up underneath all these forces. So I think Revival is going for this timing push. I think he's going to wait for +1 missile, +1 carapace, burrow, and roach speed, and then he's going to gear up to move out. However, the longer he waits back here, the further behind he falls because Stephano has a third hatchery, and he's starting to mine from it, and it doesn't look like Revival is gearing up for a third. There we go. Finally coming up, but a little bit later.
And lings are on the way to Revival's third, and I think that's going to be the deny right there.
And that's the problem, really, when you go with the Roach defensive style. You have no map control. You can't expand at will.
Oh, he didn't cancel that.
He didn't cancel it? Oh, that's huge. He didn't get his money back for that. That's big.
He's still up 30, almost 30 supply, though.
Yeah.
About 25 supply right now.
Well, he is going to push out right now. I think he's time for him to push. A lot of upgrades are going to be time to finish at the same time here. Not +1/+1, but he is going to have Burrow and Gleo Reconstitution, which is the speed. But I like Stephano's wall with the 4 crawlers, and I don't think Revival is going to be able to bust through here, and that's huge. The longer Stephano waits here, the more economy he's going to have.
Yeah, and I think Revival might be trying to engage here. I don't think that that's a very good idea at all. We have a ton of Roaches here from Stephano.
Oh, but the Burrow coming into play.
And that will heal up all of these Roaches. Doesn't have burrowed movement yet, though. Overseer is out for Stephano. He's massing up Roaches behind this. No, he has 2.
No, that's actually Revival's.
Oh, okay, the colors, man.
Yeah, the colors are a little confusing.
It looks like pink.
I know, dude.
It's the deal.
Yeah. Well, he's just getting an overseer in case of Stephano having burrow roaches himself. I really don't think Revival can push this situation against those 4 crawlers, but
he could go around.
He could go around, and I think Revival knows that Stephano has a third, so he knows he's gonna fall behind in the long run, and he has to make some pressure happen, and that's what he's gonna go. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna go around to the third.
I mean, he has to deny the third or do something here. No, he's actually headed back to the natural. Wow. I feel like the natural is the worst possible place for him to engage with these 4 spine crawlers. They're just going to do so much damage throughout the fight, and it's going to give Stephano the edge. But if he engages over here at the third, he could get a much better arc. I think he might have enough roaches to potentially break through here. There is 1 crawler, and it's going to go down real quick.
Wow.
Roaches coming in from all sides. Does Stephano have enough to hold on here? He has roaches in the back that are not firing.
Oh my god, and Stephano has +1/+2, Stephano has 0-1, whereas Revival has +1/+2. And that's a huge upgrade deficit for Stephano, and that means Revival's going to be able to break through everything. He's just crashing through all these roaches, and I think he's going to be able to kill off the hatchery as well. This crawler is in danger of going down as well, and Stephano is going to have to evacuate this base. Revival making a well-timed timing push with +1/+2. And it looks like he is going to be able to break through.
Yep, he does have bird movement on the way. GG is called, and Stephano has left the game. Wow.